Greetings, fellow YouTuber. My name is Tim. Greetings, fellow YouTuber. My name is Tim. Welcome once again to that show when people were asked for their opinion of, answered in unison, who are you and what are you doing in my dining room? This is GainerWorld Live. My name is Tim Gainer. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I totally appreciate it, as we do every week. And yeah, this is what we do every week. So good night. No, really, I'm just kidding. It was humor, all right? Come on, get over it. Anyway, yeah, this is what we do pretty much every week. We get together and we let our hair down, so to speak, even though mine's still tied up. But if you're a new viewer, this is we started this back in March of 2020, and mainly what we do is we just talk about stuff. We found out during the pandemic, or soon to be Pandemic 2, the sequel. Stay tuned for that. But we found out during the pandemic that people were getting kind of antsy. So we decided to do something kind of different. And what we did was we went ahead and we started this live stream. And this stream has been what's keeping us through everything for the last about 3.5 years now. So yeah. It definitely has been a help to a lot of people, or so I've been told anyway. But yeah, this is what we do. We sit around and we talk about things, and we just kind of talk amongst ourselves. And as you can tell, we bring the chat to you. Yes, we do that. See, if you're watching live right now, you're probably watching over there. Yeah, you don't need to do that. Not in GainerWorld. Oh, no. We don't talk over there. We talk right there. We talk right there into that box. Where's the box? That's where we do it. It's right there. That is our chat. We bring the chat to you, so you don't have to strain your eyes or your neck. We care about you, the viewer. Oh, indeed. Indeed we do. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on this week. And we appreciate the fact that you're here. And if you are part of GainerWorld, as you are, because obviously you're watching. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now, but be that as it may. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some things, and we invite you to join in. Come on into the chat. We'd be more than glad to talk to you. And we'll talk to you about many, many things that are going on this week. Many things that are going on this week. Man, let's just get right into it. In fact, we'll even get into it by, if you're new here, there's a segment that we love every single week. We love to do it, and we love performing it. Performing it? It's time for the Deadpool, y'all. Let's just get into it, shall we? You may not be old enough to recognize this name. If you are, this is going to come as kind of a shock to you. But unfortunately, it's true. According to People magazine and The Guardian, Roger Whittaker passed away last week, apparently on September 13th. According to People magazine, his family and Sony Music shared a statement confirming his death on his official website come last Tuesday. he was one of those guys that you could say he was part of the folk scene, but I just don't see him as being a folky kind of a guy. He was one of those weird baritone voices, and he was, how can I say this? He was kind of a cross between Robert Goulet and Peter Yarrow, if that helps you at all. Okay, he had a few hits, especially in the States, but mostly in the UK. The Durham Town, the Leavin', 1969. I don't believe in If anymore. In 1970, The Last Farewell in 1971, which actually was reissued in 1975 and became a top 20 hit here in the States, as well as going number one in 11 different countries. He also did a ton of covers, Wind Beneath My Wings being a top chart topper for him. He was huge overseas, just absolutely huge, only because he was able to sing both in French and German, and he just had that style about him. He just, he had that, he could, and he could whistle. He was a whistling kind of guy. We'll get into that in a minute. But according to People magazine, they revealed that the singer died last week, as I said. The statement read, and quote, "Is with great sadness that we share our beloved Roger Whittaker passed away on the 13th, September 2023. He left us in peace in the presence of his family. During this difficult time, we would like to thank everyone for their support and compassion. Roger was an iconic artist, a wonderful husband and father. He touched so many hearts with his music during his lifetime, will live on in our memories. The family requests privacy as we go through this time of grief, and we thank you for your understanding. Roger will be greatly missed. The legacy will forever live in our hearts and his art." But you have heard him before. You might have heard his Christmas album that was released in, I think it was 1974, 75. I've got it. It's on the classic Christmas list. I don't mind telling you. He was once Germany's most successful recording artist, if that means anything to anybody. He made several recordings in German. But he had this way of making songs his own. He really did. He did a version, for example, called The Green Grass of Home. Tom Jones made it a hit, but Roger Whittaker made it his own. Song Sung Blue. Everybody knows Neil Diamond's version, but Roger Whittaker made it a hit overseas. He liked to say that he represented the silent majority. He defined it as, and this is a quote from Roger, the kind of person who, when he marries, becomes a parent and a taxpayer and devotes himself to bringing up his children properly. All in all, a pretty straight down the line guy. One thing that I do really admire him for, and I forgot about this, and I think this is probably one of the first times that I'd heard about him. He was the first guy to go on TV to sell his records. You've got these people today that, they'll sell everything, from cap snafflers to fishing lines. Roger Whittaker was the first person to do it in the 70s. It was, he was dropped by his label. RCA dropped him. And even though he was selling in the millions in Europe. So he decided to market an album, as you see here, All My Best. And he was the first person to do it on TV. He sold about 1 million copies as a result of it. So yeah, just a terrific voice, silent, and kind of sad. Yeah. Roger Whittaker, the great Roger Whittaker, gone at the age of 87. There's a distinct voice. You've heard his voice in the past. I guarantee you have. Then earlier this week, even later this week, as to say, I believe it was Wednesday, we found out that Billy Miller, soap opera star and heartthrob, who portrayed Billy Abbott on The Young and the Restless, he passed away at the age of 43. Miller's manager confirmed the news of his death in a statement to today.com, according to our friends at NBC, adding that the 17th would have been his 44th birthday. How sad is that? The statement reads simply, Emmy Award-winning actor Billy Miller died on September 15, 2023 in Austin, Texas. He was struggling with manic depression when he died. Oh, man. That never goes. That's never any good. But, yeah, they watched him get his start on All My Children. You might remember that if you're a fan. Back in 2007, he was Richie Novak. He stayed on the series for a year before he became a cast on The Young and the Restless. He won 3 daytime Emmys, 2010, 2013, and 2014 for his role of Billy Abbott. And he stayed with that soap opera until 2014. He then joined General Hospital as Jason Morgan / Drew Kane. You remember that storyline, don't you? Yeah, neither do I. It earned him another Daytime Emmy nomination in 2018. And he departed that series in 2019. He also was in the movie American Sniper in 2014. He also had recurring roles in Suits, Ray Donovan, Truth Be Told, and his last role was a guest spot in NCIS. So, yeah. There's a statement that also said that Miller leaves behind a great many friends and colleagues who will miss his warm personality, generous spirit, and genuine kindness. A lot of his alum, I guess you could say, have poured in with their tributes. For example, Eileen Davidson from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and The Young and the Restless. She shared a photo of her and Miller smiling next to each other as they both posed with their Emmys. So sad to hear of Billy's passing, she wrote on X, Twitter, whatever the hell we're calling it this week. His infectious charm and warmth left lasting impressions on us all who were lucky enough to have him in our lives. There's a ton of these that are coming out. But, yeah, very, very sad situation. Again, very sad situation. Billy Miller, gone at the age of 43. Update your cards. That's the Deadpool for this week, boys and girls. Yep. A couple of those I'll bet you didn't have on your card. I'd almost bet on that. Very simple to say. Well, sir, time now to get into the meat of things, shall we say. One of the things I really wanted to talk about, I'm really looking forward to. Everybody knows my disdain, and my hatred for the nominating process for the for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, sir, perhaps our luck on this will turn. Because, according to our friends over at NBC, turns out that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation has removed founder and Rolling Stone magazine co-founder Jan Wenner from its board of directors. They decided, in fact, they referred reporters to a publicity firm that confirmed an email statement of Wenner's removal from the board of organizers that he founded back in 1983. And you might be saying to yourself right about now, Tim, why indeed would Jan Wenner be thrown out of his own Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? If you've been following the news, and if you haven't, it's okay. But turns out Jan wrote a book. The book is called The Masters. And it's conversations that he has had with some of the greats from some of the greats. But there was just one slight problem with it. And the whole thing came from a interview that he gave to the New York Times. And he revealed that the book, which coincidentally, and it's kind of important that we talk about this, had interviews with all white male musicians. People including Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, Bono. And Jan was asked, or if I can be so bold as to quote Gary Trudeau from Doonesbury, Jan Wenner. When Jan was asked why the book did not include interview with people of color or women, Jan said, and this is a quote, "Just none of them were as articulate enough on this intellectual level." And during the interview, he expressed similar thoughts regarding black rock artists, some of whom we all know, they invented the damn genre. But he said, and again, a quote from the New York Times, of black artists, Stevie Wonder, genius, right? I suppose when you use a word as broad as masters, the fault is using that word. Maybe Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield? I mean, they just didn't articulate in that level. And then he went on to say that his selection of musicians for the book was, quote, intuitive, end quote, and what I was interested in. And he even said that he knew there was going to be criticism of his choices. Quote, that just for public relations' sake, maybe I should have gone and found one black and one woman artist to include here that didn't measure up to that same historical standard just to avert this kind of criticism, which I get it. I had the chance to do that. Oh, yeah. So he tried to issue an apology. He said, in my interview with the New York Times, I made comments that diminish the contribution, genius, and impact of black and women artists, and I apologize wholeheartedly for these remarks. He said it was not meant to represent the whole of music and its diverse and important originators, but to reflect the high points of my career and interviews I felt illustrated the breadth and experience of that career. His publisher, Little Brown and Company, did not respond to NBC's request for comment. However, they did, in fact, according to Real Classic Bands, they canceled all his upcoming promotional events. Yeah. They released this statement. Also, they canceled a planned interview that he was supposed to have with director and former Stone writer Cameron Crowe. This email was sent out to this email was sent out, and they just said that Wenner's publishers have canceled all his promotion events for this fall. If that's not enough, now you see a picture of him right here, okay? This younger picture of him right here. This is when he started Rolling Stone back in '67. Now you got to give him props for that. Rolling Stone was a great magazine, still, I guess, is to some certain degree. But what makes it worse, Rolling Stone has literally turned their back on him. In a statement on Twitter, they say, and we quote, Jan Wenner's recent statements to the New York Times do not represent the values or practices of today's Rolling Stone. Jan Wenner has not been directly involved in our operation since 2019. Oh, man. What is it Paulie said in Goodfellas? Now I got to turn my back on you. Especially since his departure has been to tell stories that reflect the diversity of voices and experiences that shape our world. At Rolling Stone's core is the understanding that music, above all, can bring us together and not divide us. And one more note before we let this one die. Can you tell I'm really happy about this one? I'm thinking now maybe there's a chance that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame may just have some kind of real legitimacy going forward. Probably not, but you can't take my dreams. But the first artist of note to speak up about all this was Joe Bonamassa, who won't be eligible for nomination until 2025. If ever, especially after this. What he says was, this man has done more to bring down the credibility of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than anyone else. He has been a punitive, elitist, and frankly kept artists out of the hall over petty grudges and ego. His ouster is a good thing. Jan Wenner, if I can quote Gary Trudeau, out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Board of Directors. Why? I don't know. Racist much? Sexist much? Hard to say. Let's say hi to Noreen Henry, who is watching us this evening, saying hi and saying that Jan is a panty waist. Yes, he is. I don't know. I still like Rolling Stone to a degree. We quote Rolling Stone a lot on this show, so I guess it's okay. But there is some good news. But before we do that, a big wave from little sister Judy from the FLA, who's in there. Hey, little sister, how you doing? But there is, if I can quote the beginning, there's good news tonight. And that good news is Vanna White still has a job. According to InStyle magazine, Wheel of Fortune fans can breathe a sigh of relief because Vanna White, the show's longtime co-host, has signed a new 2-year contract, according to Page Six and TMZ. And yes, before anybody asks, yes, she did get a raise. Now, they're not saying how much, but it's definitely more than the mere $3 million a year that she was getting as compared to Pat Sajak's $15. I'm sorry, I still have no sympathy for this, but it's what we do. Prior to the news breaking today, there had been reports circulating that Vanna hadn't received any sort of raise for more than 18 years. And I still maintain she didn't need it because she was making $3 million a year and she's married to a sheik. So, her lawyer, Brian Friedman, was in very difficult negotiations with Sony to secure her substantial pay increase. Her Pat Sajak's replacement, by the way, Ryan Seacrest, we found out, is going to make $28 million per season. Let me repeat that because it's kind of important that we all understand what's going on here. Ryan Seacrest, the man replacing Pat Sajak on Wheel of Fortune, is going to make $28 million per season for hosting Wheel of Fortune, giving him the distinction, according to TMZ, of being the highest paid TV host currently on the air. In fact, it was so bad that Brian Friedman, Vanna's lawyer, was also rumored to be floating the idea of filing a gender discrimination lawsuit against Sony. And I see this because, again, here are the stars of our show, Pat Sajak and Vanna White. She's a co-host. She is the franchise. Okay? You know, the two of them sitting there right now are of equal value. Let us call it what it is. Okay? So, yeah. So, in case you're interested, they started taping the final season for Pat last week. And, this is his final season on the show. But be happy, be thrilled, rejoice, because, in fact, Vanna got her raise. And she is going to be coming back to Wheel of Fortune, at least for 2 years. By the way, we did not mention that. But, yeah. She got a 2-year extension on her contract. And I don't know how much she's making now, but it's a pretty penny. A pretty penny, let me tell you. Little sister is saying that Ryan Seacrest is pretty enough to make that kind of money. And Ryan Seacrest is actually prettier than Vanna. I'm not saying. I'm merely recalling an episode of Robot Chicken when they parodied Ryan Seacrest, and all they said was, Seacrest out. And I'll take it from there. Let me ask you a question, fellow YouTuber. And I think this is a question that I think we can all agree on the answer. Let me ask you, fellow YouTuber, who could turn the world on with her smile? Who could take a nothing date and suddenly all make it seem worthwhile? That's right, we're talking about America's sweetheart, the late, great Mary Tyler Moore. Now, we all know, we all remember Mary. We all remember her. Her days as Mary Richards, that perky, young producer for WTMJ News. And we all remember her days of serving dinner to Robin Ritchie Petrie on the Dick Van Dyke Show. And unfortunately, we lost Mary back in 2017. And her husband, Joseph Barbieri, was, not Joseph Barbieri, but her husband. I can't remember his name, and I don't have it with me, and I'm sorry about that. But the fact of the matter is, he made the painful decision to sell Mary's once sprawling Connecticut mansion. It's a 5-bedroom Connecticut mansion. And according to Joseph Barbieri of Sotheby's International Realty, Greenwich Brokerage, it is for sale. It's a Georgian colonial home dubbed Harkaway. Quickly, fellow YouTuber, how much do you think they listed this house for? Now, before you answer that question, let's talk about the house itself. According to People magazine, Joseph Barbieri of Sotheby's said that she created an extraordinarily beautiful home on an enhancing property. I beg your pardon. The floor plan was designed by Stephen Wang, and it totals 13,825 feet. As you walk in, according to House Beautiful, guests first witness the ample square storage space of the estate when they open the front door of the home and see the spiral staircase that serves as the focal point to the foyer. There's a second floor primary suite in a private wing, spans over 2,000 square feet. Dual marble baths, dressing rooms, spacious walk-in closets. Of course, for that perky Mary, would you have any other way? No, of course not. And as visitors make their way through the entryway, they're met with scenic landscape views such as this. They open the front door of the home and see a spiral staircase. They're met by a scenic landscape inside the Venetian plastering living room with a bay window and a fireplace. There's also a pool table, built-in bookcases, a dual-purpose billiards and library room, perfect for entertaining guests, and it features comfortable window seats and a marble fireplace. Of course, there's a formal dining room. Of course, you have to have that. And it echoes the features of the living room and has fine genteel molding. Nearby, the kitchen accesses the breakfast and family room with a fireplace. That's right, you heard me. The kitchen has a fireplace. And, of course, through the French doors is the patio for the indoor and outdoor dining, which is adjoined by an office that houses its own powder room with tray ceiling and marquetry floor. There's also a laundry room, formal powder room, a dog shower and grooming station. There's 3 en-suite bedrooms, laundry, and a separate gift wrapping room. You know, because you got to have a gift wrapping room. And it includes a separate 1-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a bath. Of course, you've got the amenities outside that you see there: gym, a spa with a massage room, built-in jacuzzi, steam shower, the sauna, all within walking distance of the pool and the outdoor fireplace. Now imagine, now you just heard about this. You just got to see everything, okay? Simply put, how much would you pay? But wait, there's more. The 5-bedroom Emu City, I have to interrupt here. Emu City just asked a very, very pertinent question. Does the furniture come with it, and is the upholstery fine Corinthian leather? Brother, I am here to tell you. I almost guarantee you it is. Perky Mary's house has been listed at $21.9 million. It is on the market. You're looking for that little getaway? $21.9 million. And you would think to yourself right about here that, yeah, you know, it's kind of fun. It'd be great to have. But you know what? It turns out that there are some people that are actually hating on Mary for this kind of house. No, you don't know. This is Mary Tyler Moore we're talking about. This is America's Sweet. She was so sweet, she died of diabetes. Come on. You don't do that. But apparently, people are a little salty about this. Apparently, the internet's got a lot to say about this, according to House Beautiful. One commenter wrote on Facebook, quote, "It's definitely a teardown. It's extremely outdated, but on a gorgeous piece of property." That's not outdated. How's that outdated? Another remarked, very disappointed by the decor. Meanwhile, one person balked at some of the most over-the-top amenities. I don't know what they could possibly be talking about. Commenter joked, "I've been looking for a dog shower. This may work." And for what it's worth, Mary was an animal rights activist. Okay. So, and in fact, she co-founded a charity called Broadway Barks. She owned 4 dogs. So, yeah, I'm sure that there was, a couple of ways to pamper Fido. But yeah, there you have it. If you're looking for a place, $21.9 million. Checking the tote board. Noreen says it's worth a gazillion dollars. Close. Little sister says, "Opulence is nice. I would live there, but I wouldn't pay a thing. I'd marry Rich and make him pay for it." And this is stopping you now. How? Emu City, on the other hand, says the house was built in 1900 and has a protected landmark status, granted in 2020. Okay. So, what you're telling me is now half of Connecticut, which apparently is what this house is sitting on, is now a landmark. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, there you have it. $21.9 million. One of the things that we've definitely been watching that I promised we would keep up on, and we've got another update on this, And of course, I'm talking about one of the more really looked for. If you're looking forward to an album, this is one that a lot of people are really looking forward to. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Dolly Parton's Rockstar album. If you're new to this, Dolly Parton has made a rock and roll record. She decided, after Jan Wenner, formerly of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, I'm not vengeful. They named her to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She said she needed to earn it, so she has recorded an album of rock and roll hits and some originals. And we've been following this and giving our critique on some of the tracks. Among them, she's worked with people like Ann Wilson of Heart. She's worked with Rob Halford of Judas Priest. Yes, that Rob Halford. She's worked with Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr. And she now has a new track that she has released today, according to Rolling Stone, and I have heard it, and we'll get into that in just about a second. But what she has done now is she's got on the album a cover of What's Going On. Yeah, Four Non Blondes. Yep. What's Up? That's the name of the song. I'm sorry. What's Going On? You know what I mean. What's Up? Four Non Blondes. And yes, Linda Perry does appear on the track with her. And I gotta tell you, she released the video track, the official audio on YouTube. Go check it out. And she released a video on CMT's website. She released a video for it, and it shows her singing the song on the stage of Nashville's Eakin Elementary School, with Linda Perry playing acoustic guitar in front of her, and the kids pop their heads in the theater and they start forming an audience for the artists. And of course, it's all cuteness and light because, well, come on, it's Dolly. Amu City is saying already, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I listened to the track today, and I have to tell you that this is a song that was suited for her. She does a very admirable job. It's a very, very good track. And Linda Perry does not really sing on it as she does just basic harmonies. She lays back completely the way that McCartney laid back when she did Let It Be. And it is it's well produced, an amazing track. And I think this is the track where Dolly started getting her footing and going, okay, I think I'm onto this rock and roll stuff. She did an amazing job. It's a song that's suited for her. And Perry sweetening the harmonies, and the whole production of the song is a song that is suited to her. She literally makes this song her own. In fact, I'm going to quote Rolling Stone out of this because I couldn't find the right words, but they say, in Dolly's hands, the tune has a country swing to the rhythm, a little twang, which, if you stop and think about it, could be useful at this point. It's still Dolly Parton. Let's call it what it is. She's still Appalachia's sweetheart. We all know that, okay? But in all sincerity, she really does a great job, throws a little Southern rock in. Perry does a great job backing her up. And the final lyric, after years, my life's still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for destination. She nails it. Amu City just said, just listen to the short. I'm not digging it. Okay. I appreciate that. But I would recommend really that you go back and listen to the whole thing. It's a well-produced track. And I mean, even if you're not a fan of country music, I can understand it. Maybe you're sitting back and going, how dare you destroy four non-blondes like this? But approach it with an open mind. She does a good job with it. She really does a good job. She said in a statement, first of all, I love Linda Perry. Second of all, I love this song written by Linda. And third of all, I love being a part of this video to try to make people think about what's going on in this world today. Shout out to the little children that helped with the video. If our children don't make it, then what will? Again, I ask, what's up? So, yeah. And occasional guest DJ, occasional guest co-host, Chris King just popped in and went, oh, geez, are we on this again? Yes. Because if you were listening at all, and obviously you're being a late bloomer here, Christoph, you will notice that we were talking about a new track that she has out. Drops November 17th, Rockstar, the new track, What's Up, with Linda Perry. I think it's a great track. It's not a terrific track, but she makes it her own while still maintaining, that edge. So I was really happy about that. So again, we'll see what happens. I'm still in there. I'm still in there with you. I'm still in there with you, Dolly. I want you to be successful at this album. I really do. Chris is saying, I'm tired of her face. I'll be so glad when it's out and over. Yeah, I can suggest. I can recommend. I can understand that. November 17th is what we're talking about. Speaking of things being pulled out of complete mothballs. I mean, it is getting near Christmas time. So, of course, all the album releases are going to be coming out long about October, November. Rockstar being one of them. But here's another one that's going to be coming out on November 18th. Are you ready for a new live album from Jimi Hendrix? This is an album that no one has ever heard before, according to GainerWorld. There's a new Jimi Hendrix Experience live album. It's called Los Angeles Forum, April 26, 1969. It's going to be released this fall. We just found out about this today. It was recorded at the LA Forum on April 26, 1969. Thus the clever idea for the title. And it features the original Experience lineup of Hendrix on electric guitar and vocals, Noel Redding on bass, Mitch Mitchell on drums, and it's going to be released via Legacy Recordings on November 18th. It was produced by Janie Hendrix, John McDermott, the manager of Hendrix's music catalog, and longtime Hendrix producer and collaborator Eddie Kramer. There's a number of his classics that are on this particular track, on this particular album. You've got songs like Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, Voodoo Child, two versions of Voodoo Child Slight Return. But I did hear one track that they released today. It's a track called I Don't Live Today. It's available on Vivo if you want to look for it. And it is an absolutely blistering track. This is Jimmy probably at the height of his powers. It's amazing, and I really suggest you go check it out. There's also a cover of Cream Sunshine of Your Love. There's a pre-Woodstock version of the Star Spangled Banner that's on there as well. Part of the problem was that there was a bunch of fans. They were getting a little crazy. I mean, it was 69. People were starting to freak out from the acid and whatnot. So he struggled to keep the fans from rushing the stage, and that led to increased police activity. That frustrated Jimmy. Excuse me while I kiss that policeman, he said during Purple Haze. And he dedicated Spanish Castle Magic to the plainclothes policemen out there and other goofballs. It's going to be available on two disc LP, on a CD, all the digital platforms, and liner notes by Randy Lewis, a music critic, with a preface by Billy Gibbons, who attended that show. So yeah, and it's available on the Hendrix website. The pre-order is available on Hendrix website as of right now. So go check that out. Brand new Hendrix. Gotta love that. Absolutely gotta love that. Checking the tote board on that. MU City is saying the second verse is the make or break point of that track. Going back to, he's referring to the Dolly Parton track. She fails to sell the weight of that verse. Sounds like she's forcing it. I stand by my initial assessment. Okay, that's cool. The above statement is in reference to Dolly's cover of What's Up. I knew that. Why did it take 50 years to release this? Says Little Sister. It has been in the vaults. No one has ever heard this. No one has ever heard. It has not been released as a bootleg. It hasn't been released as a part of his catalog. So why did it take 50 years? I don't know. Probably Eddie finally got around to it. Speaking of things that take 50 years or more, here's some good news. Here's some real good news. There's a reunion coming up. Now, I know we've been talking about reunions all year, Aerosmith and so on and so forth. Are you ready? Are you ready for the return of the year? Are you ready for the return of Bachman-Turner Overdrive? Yes, it's true. It is true. The rumors are true. According to Best Classic Bands, legendary guitarist and songwriter Randy Bachman has announced that Bachman-Turner Overdrive is back. The press announcement noted that the original BTO bassist lead vocalist CF Fred Turner is on track to start helping Randy put it all together as soon as he can. Along with him will be Bachman's son, Tal, along with several touring musicians. Bachman's brothers, as we all remember, Robbie and Tim, both founding members, both died earlier this year. But yeah, Randy is also writing and recording new songs. He's planning more BTO tour dates around the world, as well as a concert movie that's slated for a 2024 release from that they recorded at the Budokan in Tokyo. Turner released a statement saying, quote, "I'm so glad to hear Randy is going forward with the BTO, the Bachman-Turner Overdrive. I'm sure it'll be a great venture, and I hope Randy gets a kick out of doing this as well as Tal and the band. The rest of us will be watching and wishing you for every success. Go for it, my good buddy." So yeah, they've already got some tours, some dates lined up. They're going to be in West Springfield, Massachusetts at the Big E tonight, as a matter of fact. Then in October, they're playing two shows here in the Chicago area. One at the Family Arena in St. Charles, another at the Genesee Theater in Waukegan. That's on October 19th and 20th, respective. In November, on the 2nd, they'll be in LA at the YouTube Theater. In Indio, on November 4th at the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. And on the 5th in El Cajon at the Magnolia. So there you have it, kids. You want to talk about your reunions? Yes, buddy. BTO is back. You gotta love that. Oh, God, here we go. MU City and Chris. Is ABBA getting back together? ABBA Live. Yeah, no. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They're doing the hologram thing back there in this region. Since I don't come around to expose you to my YouTube foundings, allow me to introduce you and your viewers to the best cover band I've ever heard, the Lexington Lab Band. Okay. Which, strangely enough, my friend, segues into my next story. See? Even across the way, we got it. Let me ask you something. Do we need another album of Beatles covers? More specifically, do we need Do we need covers from the 62 to 66 album? Well, why don't you just ask the folks at Best Classic Bands? Because, according to them, yes, you do. And you can find it as of November 24th on We Can Work It Out, covers of the Beatles from 1962 to 66. There are 85 tracks on this album. Oh man, but it's not your basic, Ed Sheeran does Norwegian Wood kind of thing. It's more like a lot of historic recordings from the past. I mean, we're talking about people like the Supremes, the Mamas and Papas, Count Basie, Joe Cocker, obviously, the Ventures, the Fifth Dimension. You even got people like Mae West and Jose Feliciano. The label's September announcement, according to Best Classic Bands, says, quote, after the release of the band's first single, Love Me Do, in October 1962, Beatlemania commenced almost instantly, and soon their own recordings, as well as covers by others, were omnipresent. In this collection, we find artists from France, Holland, America, Italy, New Zealand, Hungary, and Puerto Rico, all proving that the Beatles songs were so great it didn't matter what language they were sung in. Sunshine Pop sits next to raw soul, while bluegrass nudges up against jazz. And there, I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this track. I'm looking at this track list. There's some weird stuff in here. You've got Dick Rivers doing a French version of Love Me Do. And I mean, you've got the stuff that you already know. Billy J. Kramer doing Do You Want to Know a Secret? The Foremost, Hello Little Girl. The Mamas and Papas, I Call Your Name. But there's other strange stuff in here. You've got, Adam Faith singing I Want to Be Your Man. Ed Baby Cortez playing Can't Buy Me Love. Joe Cocker did I'll Cry Instead. I never heard that one. The Buckinghams did I'll Be Back. I never heard that one before. Noel Harrison did She's a Woman. Mary Wells did Help. There is a track by Mae West in here. I'm trying to find it as I'm talking to you. Oh yes, Mae West sang Day Tripper. November 23rd. We Can Work It Out. Another Beatles covers album. Boy, don't we need that one. Thank you oh so very much. MU City real quick saying, so this is the Beatles thing like Danzig sings Elvis. Yeah, no more like Pat Boone's metal album. It's just as bad. It's time for us to just about get out of here. I do want to let you know, though, that as always, we invite you to please head over to Hugs 24/7 Radio, HUGSATWRGG.com. Tonight, Cyrus Gray will not be on the air. I will not be on the air. Your special guest for this evening will be none other than the professor of musicological musicology, Professor Heine Bach, and his cousins, Krusty and Trixie McCoy. Sometimes this show just writes itself. That's coming up right after this. Hugs at WRGG.com. Go check it out. I can't keep a straight face when I do these kind of things. Thank you to everybody who has checked in this evening. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, we are on the drive for 500 subscribers. Oh, and one more thing. No show next week. I'm going to be called out of town, heading up to Pennsylvania to Hugs 24/7 to do some PR work up there. So we won't have any show next week. So we'll be back here in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, thank you all again for being here. I appreciate it. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. In other words, if you like it, hey, you know what to do. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We out.